Hello, my beautiful friends. It's Amanda here, and today we're finally taking a look at the Valentine's Day collection from ColourPop. This is a Shadow of Secrets collection, and this released a couple of weeks back, but their PR packages were understandably delayed due to the wildfires in California. ColourPop is based in the LA area, so I'm honestly really surprised and impressed at how they've kept things running as smoothly as they have. I have absolutely zero complaints about this PR being delayed. In my opinion, the safety and security of their employees is absolutely paramount. So I'm thankful to have received this collection at all to make a video, and I'm sure that we're all on the same page with that. So, with that said, this collection sold out super quickly. The book babes just really went crazy for it, and I have to say, I know sellouts can be frustrating, but I really love to see such a strong reaction to a non collaboration, a non IP collection from them. They did do a small restock pretty quickly just due to the overwhelming response. And they have said that they'll do a more extensive restock this spring. I don't have specific details on that yet, but as soon as I know anything, I'll update you. The info that the brand sent with this collection says, quote, the collection will be available exclusively on ColourPop.com starting January 16th. So I'm not sure if that means that this will not be released to their other retailers at all, or if it just means that the January 16th release date was just for the ColourPop site. It's a little bit unclear for me if Ulta and Target will get it at a later date. I'm going to try to ask my contact person at ColourPop, and I'll let you know what I find out. So as of right now, everything except the palette is currently available on the ColourPop site. And I don't want to give you too many spoilers because we just got started, but I don't think that the palette is actually the best piece in this collection. So I do not think you're totally out of luck, in my opinion. But don't worry, they're going to do a restock eventually anyway. Just a reminder, if you decide to place an order for any of the individual items, or really most things on the ColourPop site, you can use my affiliate code. It's just my first name, Amanda, and that will save you 10%. Just a reminder that coupon codes do not work on any sets or bundles or anything else that's already on sale. Now, today I'm going to show you the entire collection close up. I have lots of swatches. I have a lot of comparisons, not just palette comparisons. And I'm going to give you all my thoughts along the way. So let's get to the fun part and take a look at the Shadow of Secrets collection, starting first with this Kiss of Darkness kit. This set is priced at 18 US dollars. Both the scrub and the mask have a limited edition chocolate covered strawberry flavor, and this actually smells just like chocolate strawberries. I really like the scent. I was expecting something a little bit more generic, chemically type of smell because this is a more complex fragrance compared to like a vanilla or a mint or a mango, your more standard lip mask type of scents. I will say I really appreciate that the lip scrub has a very fine grain. It doesn't feel too gritty or too harsh. I'm not a fan of scrubs that have a lot of like big grit particles or just a high concentration of those little exfoliating pieces. So I can comfortably say that these lip scrubs from Fourth Ray are my personal favorite texture of all the lip scrubs that I've tried. And the lip mask is a more standard formula, which I also like. It just doesn't stand out as much among its peers. Get me wrong, the lip mask works just like it should. It's not too thick and goopy. It feels really moisturizing. According to ColourPop, the mask contains squalane, shea butter, and vitamin E. These are all ingredients that I've had a good response to, give me that really nourishing feeling that I'm looking for in a lip care product. So I like this. I think it's interesting, it smells good, and it works well. So that's really what I'm looking for. Next up, we have the Instant Crush Lip and Cheek Balms. These are $10 each. According to the info that ColourPop provided, these are limited edition shades for this Valentine's Day collection. The compact packaging is the exact same shape, size, little closure mechanism as the previously released Instant Crush Balms, but this collection has some unique features. There's this little special thorny heart image on the front, and then the base of the compact, where the blush pan actually sits, is a transparent cranberry color instead of just clear. I like that these have some special packaging to set them apart, but they still have the same dimensions. So they'll fit right into storage with the rest of the line if you have multiple shades of this Instant Crush Lip and Cheek Balm. But these are still standing out. They still have some special packaging. I really appreciate that. The two shades we have are Love Interest, which they call a rich mauve, and Ravished, which they describe as a cranberry. I think they did a pretty decent job with these shade descriptions. I'm going to show you live swatches where I layer and tap out what this blush actually looks like, just because I think this is how most of us are going to wear it on our cheeks. So I wanted you to see this in action since I'm not filming my face, trying to get this video out as quickly as possible. I've previously reviewed this line, this Instant Crush Lip and Cheek Balm line, and I gave it a really positive review. I like this type of formula. I'm a big fan of cream and liquid cheek colors in general, so these are right up my alley. I'm gonna link any related videos and reviews in the description for you if you want to see more about these formulas in action and see swatches of the other colors, hear more of my thoughts. But long story short, I really like these. And of the entire Valentine's Day collection, these blushes are definitely my number one favorite item. Hopefully, we're going to keep seeing more shades released because, in my opinion, it's one of the best formulas that they've brought out in the last few years. Here's a couple of comparisons for you. Let me know if you have requests for any others you want to see, and I can make a little YouTube short for those. Next, we're going to talk about the So Juicy Plumping Gloss Balms. These are also $10 each. And kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, this is one of my least favorite formulas that ColourPop has released of late. This is really just my personal preference. I don't like plumping stuff, but if you do like plumping stuff, I understand why you would like these. And even though I'm not one for the even slightly tingly sensation or the very annoying click up and never twist back down packaging, I will say that these are super cute with the little heart shape on top. I like the shades they chose. And I most likely will never find a way to enjoy these, but I can definitely appreciate, especially the little heart-shaped dispenser detail. I know this isn't an original idea. Too Faced has done it, Kaja's done it. Tons of K-beauty brands have done this little heart shape dispenser before. So I'm well aware that it's not a new innovation or anything, but I just think it fits the theme really well. And I think they did a decent job curating the shades. They're not too similar with previously released So Juicy gloss bombs. Maybe those last two are a little bit close, but overall, I think they did a good job with these, even though they're not really my favorite. I do understand why a lot of people will like those. Personally, I prefer these Lux lipstick and lippy pencil kits. These are $16 each. Both kits contain a coordinating lippy pencil and a cream finish Lux lipstick. As usual, I am thrilled and relieved to see new shades in the cream finish Lux lips. ColourPop always has me thinking that they're going to discontinue this line, and then they toss a handful of new shades and a few special collections throughout the year. And I'm going to be honest, I eat it up. Doing these smaller drops of limited edition Lux lipsticks within a larger themed collection like this is a really good way to add some new colors to the line without having to do a full scale Lux lipstick expansion. It is what it is. I'll take it. The Lux lips are my second favorite item in this Valentine's Day collection, just behind the cream blushes. I know everybody went crazy for the palette, but for me, the palette is in like fourth place. And that's coming from a serious eyeshadow palette lover. If you made a Venn diagram of loving eyeshadow palette and being a ColourPop stan, I would be in the middle. Just look at my video catalog. There's proof of that. But look how pretty these lipstick bullets are. I think these are so cute. I love the shades that they chose. They work well with the other items in the collection. We have Anti-Hero, which is a pinky, nudie mauve type of shade, and then Slow Burn, which is more of a deep brick red. Both of these are beautiful. I can see a lot of people being very comfortable wearing these colors, getting a lot of use out of these colors. I personally would have loved a super, super deep, dark purple violet option as a third option for both the blush and the lipstick. I would go crazy for that, and I think a lot of other people would too. But I do like the colors they chose. You can see based on these comparisons that they have released some pretty similar Lux lipsticks in the past, but I'm still not mad at it. I'm still not mad at more Lux lipsticks. Let's now talk about the Shadow of Secrets palette. It's $23, and I really respond positively to this packaging. I like how it's designed to look like a book cover. They have these funny little fake blurbs on the back. I'm a fan of a pun. I love a good makeup pun, and I think that this is really cute and clever the way they put these little quote like blurbs on the back. I am a reader, and while I have enjoyed my fair share of romance novels through the years, I'm not one to choose a dark romance or a romantasy, which is like a fantasy genre. Absolutely no judgment, no shade to anybody who does like to read in those genres. I 100% think that you should read whatever you like. It's just not my jam, but I am still aware of the themes. Even though it's not my forte, I can appreciate the details that support this dark romance slash romantasy vibes, so to speak. The Shadow of Secrets palette contains 15 shades. There are 7 true mattes, one sequin shade, which is the matte loaded with a bunch of those little glittery sparkles, the one called Grumpy Sunshine, which is, for me, an absolutely terribly performing shade. There are 5 regular shimmers and 2 of the pearlescent glitters. These are laid out in 3 color groups. The 3 columns are very much in a monochromatic group. The first one is a very gray centric set of neutrals. In the middle, still neutral, but more smoky burgundy emphasis. And then the last column is very plummy purples. When you see the palette swatched, I did it in those column groups. So that's the order we're working with in the swatches. I have some major pros and cons for this palette. Maybe these will be hot takes because obviously this palette sold like crazy, and whether or not I like it, it's a very successful palette. I do like it, but in a very lukewarm way. The theme, the packaging draws me in, the cleverness of it all draws me in, and I think it's a really good idea. The color story of the shadows don't really live up to the images on the outer packaging. I personally would have liked to see all of those really shiny, reflective flowers that are all over the outer packaging to be depicted in gray or, gray and purple instead of this brighter, more fuchsia green combo. I just think that would have paired the packaging and the shadows in a way that was meeting my expectation more, I guess. Maybe that's a totally petty complaint and you don't care at all, which is valid. I just like the inside and the outside to match a little bit more. I don't mind the actual colors in the palette. It's not super exciting. In fact, this palette is much more neutral when it's actually applied to the skin than I thought it would be based on just looking at the shadows and the pans. I can get down with a neutral heavy palette, especially one with a lot of vampy shades, silvers, purples. These are all things I love in a palette. But my guess is that the majority of us already have more than enough neutral options already. And anyone is going to bring out neutrals in 2025, they really need to perform. They have to be a good, high quality eyeshadow formula. And sadly, I think you can tell based on these swatches that Shadow of Secrets is just not up to snuff in that department. I have touched tens of thousands of eyeshadows, no doubt at this point. I've been reviewing makeup for 10 years. I have reviewed almost every single ColourPop palette ever made. And this is not their best formula, in my opinion. The shimmers are okay. I don't like the pearlescent glitters. The mattes are really lacking, especially these darker mattes. But all of the purples are super dry to the touch. Some of the red shades are kind of the same. And they feel to me like they're pressed too hard. So the result is just really patchy. And I'm sad because I wanted this to be a hit. I want to like it. I'm intrigued by it. I am the target audience for sure. And if this palette had the same performance as Shadows in Troublemaker, then I'd be going crazy for it. But when you see the comparison swatches, the difference is really, really obvious. So let's get to the comparisons. The first one I have is this Gourmand Girls Bitten palette. This was a request on my Instagram post, and I do understand why these two seem like they would be similar. But when you see the swatches on skin, it becomes immediately apparent that Bitten is a lot brighter and more colorful overall. And the performance difference is so obvious. The last shade in Shadow of Secrets is supposed to be a super dark purple sequin matte shade, not a whisper of brown. So just wait until you see the texture difference with other ColourPop palettes from the past. Now, because the Bitten comparison is the first one I did, this caused me to rethink some of the other palettes that I had pulled. I was really envisioning this as less neutral than it actually is. So I had pulled the Silvery Bliss palette, and I also had pulled out the Smoke and Roses palette, the big mega palette from ColourPop. I ended up swapping those out in favor of more neutral forward palettes that I have in my collection. But I just thought it would be cool to show you this part of the process that happens behind the scenes because I definitely end up pulling out way, way more palettes than I ultimately swatch. If I feel like I can't get a decent comparison, especially for something that isn't requested, then I really try my best to narrow down to the absolute most useful comparisons for you. So that's a little look behind the curtain. I had also originally pulled out Huda's Naughty Nudes palette to be paired with Icy Nude, but after getting into the swatches, that Naughty Nudes palette was way too warm and orangey and pinky and colorful. So Pretty Grunge ended up being a much better option. And overall, I think this is the second best match in today's video out of all the comparisons. But at least in my opinion, I really truly prefer the Huda formula over this Shadow of Secrets palette. Another Instagram request in the form of two of my all-time favorite palettes is up next, Troublemaker and Orchid You Not. These aren't as close shade-wise as some of the others, but definitely in the right neighborhood. You could definitely get some of the same looks, and ultimately, I really prefer the performance, the formulas in these other comparison palettes. So if you have these in your collection already, I would say you can safely skip Shadow of Secrets. That's just one girl's opinion, okay? The last comparison is my beloved Stone Cold Fox palette. This is a true champion of swatch comparisons. And not only do I think this is the best match shade for shade, but the quality of this Stone Cold Fox palette is beyond incredible. And keep in mind, my palette is quite a few years old at this point, and it's still just more silky smooth and opaque than a brand new Shadow of Secrets palette. Do with that opinion what you will. Certainly, there will be folks who prefer the, let's say, lighter touch of the Shadow of Secrets palette. And, maybe you're a die-hard romantasy, dark romance book babe, and you don't even care if the shadows aren't the best. That's okay too. That's totally valid, in my opinion, from a reviewer standpoint, and just from someone who really, really loves ColourPop. My top picks from this collection are the blushes and the Lux lipstick kits. Those are the things I see fitting into my makeup routine long term, and they're really the products that I'm most excited to pick up again tomorrow. So that's a big thing for me in how I rank and review products is what do I want to keep going back to? Not just what's exciting right now, but what do I see myself really enjoying using in the bigger picture. I'd put the lip scrub and the lip mask in third place because that's something that I see myself easily completely using up. And then the palette is in fourth, and the So Juicy Plumping Gloss Balms, of course, are my least favorite. I just don't like that formula. But that's just, like I always like to say, that's just one girl's opinion. Let me know if you want to see looks with this collection, if you have any other comparisons that I can put into a little YouTube short or an Instagram post or something for you. I'm definitely going to be testing out these products over the next days and weeks, of course, ahead of my February product ranking. So I can film some more with this if that would be fun or helpful. I want to hear what you think about this collection. Did you already order it? Did you maybe have a better experience with your palette? There's always the possibility that I just have a dud that is too hard pressed, and maybe you have one that's great and works well and you love it and it's your favorite palette. I always like to hear that. I want to hear what you think about things too. So make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. I love your face. Bye.